Farm Week is a production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, the quarantine on the movement of poultry litter in Mississippi has been expanded to the southeast part of the state.
We'll have highlights from the 2011 Greenhouse Tomato Short Course. It attracts participants from the U.S. and Canada.
In southern gardening, the African daisy. Some of you are familiar with it as a gift plant, but you can grow it in your landscape as well.
In the markets, pondbank catfish prices are still headed north. Soybean prices are also attractive, but volatile.
In the feature segment, Christmas is coming a little early on Farm Week this year. We'll take you to Columbus to the Palmer Home for Children. It raises poinsettias and other plants as a way to help teach its residents a powerful work ethic.
It teaches them responsibility, accountability, how to maintain whatever equipment and put it back where they got it from. And it also makes them to be time for work and then how to work as leaders or as a group. Some of them get in here and they really mature and prosper.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
The quarantine on the movement of poultry litter in Mississippi has been expanded. The reason is to help curb the spread of poultry disease.
Leighton, the Mississippi Board of Animal Health has expanded the limits on the movement of poultry litter in Mississippi. The reason is ILT, a viral disease of poultry. The disease does not affect humans, but the respiratory disease is easily spread among poultry. The disease can be spread by litter movement, so the quarantine has now been extended to southeast Mississippi. No poultry litter movement is allowed in or out of an area south of Interstate 20 and east of the Pearl River. That takes in all or part of 24 Mississippi counties. No litter may also be moved between Mississippi and Alabama. The movement of poultry litter is still allowed in the area outside of the quarantine area, but permits are required for litter movement north of I-20 and west of the Pearl River. We'll have the permit contact information on our website, farmweek.msucares.com. Once again, ILT is not a human health concern, but it is easily spread in poultry.
The high cost of fuel may actually benefit some greenhouse tomato growers in the United States. It was one of the subjects discussed at the annual Greenhouse Tomato Short Course in Raymond, Mississippi. Economic concerns and alternative ways to increase income were also big topics on the agenda. Farm Week's Amy Taylor has a report.
After attending this year's Greenhouse Tomato Short Course, growers learned that higher fuel prices don't necessarily mean lower profit. Producers discussed research updates, economic challenges, and using the Market Maker website as a business tool. In addition, Mississippi State University Extension vegetable specialist Rick Snyder says more growers are talking about incorporating different crops into the greenhouses.
We had a good talk on alternative crops, everything from lettuce to even growing beans, and there are peppers, eggplant, even squash for greenhouses. Now, one caution is that it's hard to grow some crops together in the same greenhouse. Lettuce and tomatoes in the same greenhouse are a little more difficult since tomatoes need it warmer and lettuce can tolerate much cooler temperature. But with different greenhouses for different crops, it can work very well.
Snyder says diversifying the greenhouse can increase chances of profitability depending on market demands in the area. Tomato grower Steve Froelich explains why higher fuel costs could actually benefit local producers in the United States.
When you look at product coming out of Mexico, I think the average distance that products are traveling is about 1,700 miles. And of course, that varies where you are in the United States. Well, if you've got to put that into a truck and ship it from there to here, especially at gas over $3 a gallon now and probably going to go higher. That's going to be an increasing cost to our food. It is going to put us in a more favorable position to be able to compete.
Froelich says even though cheaper production costs in Mexico allow lower prices, fuel costs make it more expensive to transport products from outside the U.S. Therefore, purchasing tomatoes from local growers can prove to be more affordable. From Raymond, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
Well, let's check on the Mississippi Weekly Crop Report from the Mississippi Ag Statistics Service in Jackson. This is the first time we've done it this year. It does reflect conditions as of Sunday. As we look at Mississippi soil moisture, surplus in 20% of the state, adequate 69%, short 11%. But remember, this does not reflect the rain that fell on Wednesday and Thursday. So we're going to see the surplus and adequate number get higher. As we see Mississippi corn, 90% of the crop planted as of Sunday. The average for the state is 88%, so emergence is about on par as well. As we look at soybeans, planting running behind a little bit there, 19% complete. Average is 34% for this time period. Emergence running a little behind as well. Mississippi rice, 32% of the crop planted as of the 17th, and that's right on the 5-year average. Emergence is running 12%, a little ahead of the 5-year average. Mississippi cotton, only 2% of the crop planted as of Sunday. The average for the state is 6%, so we're just getting underway. That's to be expected. None of the crop is said to be emerged. As we look at Mississippi watermelons, 63% of the crop planted as of Sunday, and that is on the average for the state. Mississippi peanuts, none indicated planted at this time. Mississippi wheat, almost all the crop is jointing, which is right on the 5-year average. 84% of the crop is heading, and that is above the 5-year average.
The U.S. Commerce Department reports the U.S. trade deficit has narrowed slightly thanks to a decline in oil imports, which offset fewer American-made products being sold abroad. The world economy, however, is not expected to grow this year like it did last year. Market to Market's Mark Pearson reports.
Despite declining sales of U.S. autos, industrial machinery, and food overseas, the Commerce Department reports the U.S. trade deficit declined 2.6% in February to $45.8 billion, even with less foreign oil, autos, and computers coming into this country. Trade's impact on the U.S. economy is expected to be neutral this year, as gains from higher exports will be tempered by continued growth in imports. Growth slows when imports outperform exports because more U.S. jobs go to workers overseas. Globally, trade rocketed to an all-time high in 2010 with an increase of 14.5%. This rebound comes after a dismal performance in 2009, but leaders of the WTO don't expect a repeat performance this year.
We have to remember that this still doesn't mean we're back on trend growth. If we look at the long-term growth of exports, we're still below that trend growth rate.
The Geneva-based group recently released its projections for 2011, along with trade statistics. According to the WTO, the global economy is expected to grow 6.5% in 2011. Though positive, it's less than half of last year's expansion, which was driven in part by strong recoveries in China and Japan, where exports were up dramatically.
Despite protectionist pressures, and we've had that in many places, markets remained by and large open during the economic crisis, permitting countries to use trade as an important tool to facilitating economic stability.
Despite the impact of the global recession, world trade has expanded about 6% annually since 1990.
Although the 2010 expansion was strong enough to bring the volume of trade back to its pre-crisis peak of 2008, a large gap, of course, remains between where we are now and where we would have been if the crisis had not happened, and this gap is likely to persist for some time.
Commodity prices continue to be volatile across the globe and are rapidly becoming a wild card in the economic recovery. WTO's chief economist, Patrick Lowe, sounded the alarm over rising prices.
A judicious use of trade policy, particularly in the area of export measures, would certainly make a valuable contribution to moderating price rises and price volatility.
Everyone wants color in their landscape. In this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman says the African daisy provides that in abundance.
When shopping for flowering plants this spring, be sure to take a look at African daisy. Also known as osteos, African daisies are outstanding flowering plants. Today I'm at Dogwood Ridge Farms, where Barbara and Mike Levy are growing beautiful African daisies. These plants evolved in South Africa and are relatively new to many home gardeners. They have the familiar center disc and petals of the daisy family. The popular Serenity series will grow 10 to 14 inches tall and reach up to 20 inches wide in the landscape. Serenity colors include improved pink, dark purple, lemonade, honey gold, and lavender frost. There are two Serenity selections having spoon-shaped petals, White Bliss and Lavender Bliss. The unique shape shows the color contrast between the upper and lower surfaces of the petals. One of the most striking African daisy selections is the Zion Copper Amethyst, which will have good branching characteristics and flowers early in the season. It's the flowers that turn heads. The petals are pastel lavender with coppery orange tips. The center is a bright purple blue speckled with yellow stamens. Always grow in the full sun, keeping the planting media consistently moist. Add water-soluble fertilizer weekly to promote continual flowering. So go ahead and try some African daisies in your garden this spring. I know you'll appreciate these colorful plants. I'm Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Gary says try the African daisy for some eye-popping color, and they are pretty. In our feature segment today, flowers are for all seasons and for more than decorating. See how the Palmer Home for Children in Columbus and Hernando, Mississippi uses horticulture to help its residents learn how to work. Time now for the markets with Layton. And Layton, pond bank prices continue to improve for farm-raised catfish.
That's right, Artist. Brand new prices, brand new numbers came out on Wednesday the 20th. Also ahead on the markets today, some price uncertainty in the cattle sector as we get a new on-feed report as well. Poultry, meanwhile, seeks a cut in the federal ethanol mandate to save corn as analysts predict weather scares ahead for the soybean market. We begin in aquaculture. Wednesday's catfish processing report indicates that prices are continuing to climb. The average pond bank price being paid to U.S. producers in March was $1.07 per pound. That is 6 cents per pound more than February and 28 cents per pound higher than it was a year ago. Farm sales totaled over 29 million pounds round weight, a decrease of 37% from March 2010. Processor sales were just over 17.5 million pounds, down 22% from 1 year ago. From catfish to beef, where somewhat of an abrupt shift in the futures market took place at midweek. DTN reports that much of the softness in prices is likely associated with the Easter holiday weekend, as well as the uncertainty of cattle placements in the on-feed report released Thursday afternoon, the 21st. I asked Extension economist John Michael Riley if the market change was indeed just traders positioning themselves ahead of the report, or were there other factors at play? What do you see as some of the reasons behind the lower prices the latter part of the week before the new report?
Largely just due to outside market forces. You know, you got a lot of things going on, especially on the equity side of the market, which tends to, you know, our futures prices look to that as indicators of the general economy. So I think that's largely what we're seeing happen with our beef prices, commodity prices in general the past couple of days.
All right, we're recording this just a few hours ahead of the actual report released Thursday afternoon. What are you seeing on the pre-report estimates?
Well, cattle on feed, April 1 are expected to be about 5% higher. That put it right at 11.3 million head. Placements during the month of March expected to be up about 4%, which I'm sure some people find frustrating since we talk about this low supply, which we have been having, but went back and looked. The 2010 numbers, the first half of 2010 on-feed numbers, placement numbers were all at all-time, or not all-time lows, but at the lowest since 2003. So we're comparing this to a pretty low number to begin with. So we're still in a tight supply situation, but it's just our comparison is quite low.
All right, from spring highs to summer lows, that can be quite quite a variance some years. What are you expecting this year? Can you make any comment on that?
Well, yes, we do typically see a slight drop off from now till sometime in June. I think that's to be expected. Beef prices, or cattle prices have been moving higher, which they've had to as corn prices have moved higher. The big question, I think, in my mind is demand. I'm really nervous about domestic demand. Export demand has been really strong, and I'm really excited about that. But domestic demand, as we move into the summer with higher fuel prices, that could be the linchpin there that might, I don't want to say break the market, but it could pull the market back just a touch.
So the biggest question mark may be, will consumers hang in there at the meat counter?
That's right. Year over year, consumer price index for beef products up the highest since 2004, up 12% year over year. So that's something to take into account.
The National Chicken Council is asking Congress to reduce the renewable fuel standard as far as ethanol when we're in the situation we're in now. The situation is that the stocks-to-use ratio for corn is dropping to a very low level as the demand for corn goes sky high. Corn, of course, is the primary ingredient of chicken feed, and the cost of corn, according to the NCC, has increased from about $2 a bushel in 2006 to more than $7.50 per bushel. The poultry industry says that reducing the mandate will allow non-ethanol users, such as chicken producers, greater access to corn. From chicken feed to peanuts, as we move into the trivia quiz on Farm Week, here's the question: which type of peanut is usually used to make peanut butter? Runner, Spanish, Valencia, or Virginia? The answer will be coming up.
We're going to pause now for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar and the second part of the markets. Leighton Spann reports it's going to be a volatile year for soybean prices. In the feature segment today, poinsettias are out of place this time of year, but growing plants is a year-round operation at the Palmer Home for Children.
Each year, many Mississippians are seriously injured or killed in farm tractor accidents. Transporting and lifting objects with a front loader requires extreme caution. Unsecured objects can roll or slide down the loader arms and injure the driver. To help prevent injuries, tractors should be equipped with a falling objects protection system. Always secure loads or use a bale spear or straps before lifting objects. A message from the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. A forestry short course on managing the family forest takes place Tuesday, April 26th. The location is Vance Park on Highway 24, west of Liberty. Landowners will learn how to manage for timber production and aesthetics such as wildlife and water quality. The cost is $35 per person or $50 per couple. A workshop on farmers markets managers is being held Wednesday, April 27th. The location is the Ethnic Building at the Mississippi Ag and Forestry Museum on Lakeland Drive in Jackson. Hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The registration fee is $15, which includes lunch. A short course on forest and wildlife management for profit and recreation takes place on 3 Tuesday evenings, May 3rd through the 17th. The location is the Yalobusha County Extension Service Office on Highway 7 at Coffeyville. You'll learn about some of the myths regarding wildlife and timber, as well as thinning and available landowner programs. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this Farm Week snapshot.
No one following the markets would doubt the statement that it will be a volatile year for soybeans. As of Thursday morning, beans had rallied with support from outside markets. Soybean futures were also getting a boost from weakness in the U.S. dollar. Analyst Don Rose says he's sitting close to a third sold on beans. He advises producers to reward the bean market on rallies.
I mean, it's probably a market that as we move through the crop year, we're going to continue to take risk premium out if everything goes perfect. So that's the choice for the producer. But we think that at these levels, there's probably more downside than upside eventually. And, we're going to have plenty of weather scares. It's going to be a volatile year. There's no doubt about it with all the movement that we have going on and things. But these are attractive prices. You've never seen prices like this in history either. So you have to take advantage of them through some type of a contract if you don't, creative contract if you don't have a hard contract.
Meanwhile, analysts say world-ending stocks of wheat are very ample at this time. As a result, somewhat of an historic moment took place this week. Traders say that soft red winter wheat went under the price of corn for the first time since 1996. Don Rose had a few other thoughts on this grain market recently.
So we're trying to encourage some wheat feeding. Tells us that we have ample wheat out here, and probably from this point forward, unless we have some real weather problems, which we could, rallies are meant to be sold. So it's probably 2 steps up, 1 down.
As we move towards the feature segment of Farm Week, let's give you the trivia answer. It's the runner variety that is most commonly used to make peanut butter. A is the correct choice.
For those looking forward to Christmas, we have something for you in today's feature segment. More than 100 years ago, the Palmer Home for Children in Columbus, Mississippi was established to help children who lack the nurture and support of a loving family. It has another location now in Hernando. In addition to primary education, the home offers a variety of programs designed to help develop the work ethic and job skills of its young residents. Growing and selling poinsettias for the holiday season is one of the activities that helps the young people develop the skills they will use in the future. This story first aired last December. Farm Week's Amy Taylor reports.
With their bright, radiant colors and large velvet-like blooms, poinsettias are to most people a symbol of the holiday season. But to the young people at Palmer Home for Children in Columbus, Mississippi, these poinsettias are different. Each year, about 12 boys and girls ages 13 and up help grow the beautiful plants and sell them to the public. Mary Tuggle, grower for the home's greenhouse area, describes what the gardens have to offer.
In the spring of the year, we grow bedding plants, vegetable plants, and annual flowers. And then August, we start poinsettias. We do 3,500 poinsettias. And by Christmas, we've sold out just about 200 left or 100 left, depending.
The gorgeous plants sell fast and are often purchased in bulk by large venues such as churches. Besides traditional red poinsettias, other varieties are offered as well. Kamani Whitfield says a day in the greenhouse begins early.
We got up at 5:30 every morning. Come over here and pull the plastic over the poinsettias. It's pretty early every morning.
Whitfield says plastic covering must be pulled over the plants during certain parts of the day to help preserve their radiant colors. Others who help in the greenhouse describe what they like about the experience.
It's fun to see them grow from being very little to blooming. This project is probably going to last a very long time in years to come.
I like doing this, most of all because get out of basketball practice. But I still like doing it because I still like to help Palmer any way I can.
Young people also say working in the greenhouse teaches the importance of attention to detail and being handy when minor repairs are needed. Besides poinsettias, young people who live in the cottages at Palmer Home also help with the spring gardens. Kimani Whitfield and Chloe Hainsley talk about how the operation works.
In the spring we do all kinds of flowers so we can go on vacation. We can go to vacation and stuff. Yep, and we go to the farmer's market and sell flowers there.
Each of the cottages pick which flowers they want to grow, and that cottage gets their own greenhouse, and they plant and grow them. Then we come out after they're grown and we help sell them. We usually sell all our flowers.
Working in the greenhouse is also beneficial because selling plants is good for sharpening math skills. Mary Tuggle says life at Palmer Home is anything but dull.
They have to work their school schedule, plus extra reading that they do on campus to increase their knowledge in school. They have tutoring after school. They are all involved in sports according to what the child likes. Then they have to work this around their program at night.
By observing the personal developments of these young people, Tuggle talks about what their lives might be like without these valuable experiences.
That would almost be frightful. But I don't think they would be as well-rounded, because they get over here and that little bit of nurturing a plant into a bloom really brings out the better side of some of the children. They see they can accomplish something.
Tuggle describes the many skills Palmer Home children will take away from their greenhouse experience.
It teaches them responsibility, accountability, how to maintain whatever equipment and put it back where they got it from. And it also makes them to be time for work and then how to work as leaders or as a group. Some of them get in here and they really mature and prosper.
Tuggle adds that some children raised at Palmer Home come back to help even after reaching adulthood. From Columbus, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
You can watch this story again on our Farm Week website. That's farmweek.msucares.com. We will have a link to the Palmer Home for Children website there if you'd like to get in touch with them. Once again, our website is farmweek.msucares.com. And Leighton, you know, one of the things, it's good for a kid to have a job, you know, regardless of where they are, you know. They may they're not looking to put everybody in the horticulture business, but it's that ethic of having to get up and work and do that makes it work. And so anyway, congratulations to them. We are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our show next week, we'll celebrate the Delta Rice Luncheon's 20th anniversary.
This Cleveland, Mississippi event showcases the many ways rice can be eaten, and it's a reminder of rice's economic contribution.
Sweet potato fries are a growing product line for Mississippi sweet potatoes.
In southern gardening, hanging baskets are great for sprucing up a small porch or balcony.
If you'd like further information on a Farm Week story or you'd like to suggest a story to us, get in touch with us. Our address is Farm Week Box 9625, Mississippi State, Mississippi 39762. That's Box 9625, Mississippi State, Mississippi 39762. Our telephone number is 662-325-2262. You can also contact us through your county extension service office. For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.